attentive listening is really key. And there are a lot of exercises around listening. We start that chapter with the story of Dan Gottlieb, who was a psychologist, got in a terrible car accident, became a quadriplegic, was in the hospital contemplating suicide. Lo and behold, a senior nurse comes by, knowing he's a psychologist. While he's thinking of suicide, she says, I'm really thinking about suicide myself, and I wondered if I could sit down and maybe you could help me. So she sits down, and he says, sure. He listens to her, and by the end of the conversation, he figures out, yeah, I can live now. I can live with this injury because I can help people by listening. He went on to found a big radio show in Philadelphia called Voices in the Family. So making the time to listen to people is really important, just in your home or wherever you are, just setting time aside, making an effort to ask people what's going on in their lives, and then listening in an undistracted way, being open always to this kind of focus on others, and making a real effort to be less than fully busy all the time. In Japan, the sign for busy is a heart with a line through it, meaning no heart. So that's what I do, and that's what we advise in the book, is just make sure that you have formalized time at home or in the workplace where you just listen. You're not out to talk to people, tell them what to do, but you just want to listen. And I actually got that. I do it very effectively in my family and here at school. I'm a big listener. That's one of my strengths in the scale. But I tell this story when I was a kid growing up on Long Island, and my brother Henry was openly gay. My older sister, had married a guy who was my father's age, and I was always bringing home new philosophies, and I was talking my dad's ear off. So he asked me one day, what should I do to get along with all you kids? I said, Dad, why don't you go into New York? I read about this psychiatrist named Albert Ellis. So my dad actually went to New York and had an appointment with Albert Ellis, a rational emotive psychotherapist. So about 2 weeks later, I was home, and my father was doing exercises on the living room floor. He did some jumping jacks, and after the jumping jacks, he said 10 times, they're my friends, referring to my brother's gay buddies. And then he said, after sit-ups, he's my boy, referring to his son-in-law, who was his age. And then when he came to the next set of exercises, some kind of jumping jacks, he said, just listen. And that had to do with his son, Stephen, who was coming home spouting all this stuff, So listening's kind of key.